Hello, good morning.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
Omer.
Good morning, Arian. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. We are doing our very first, I believe, LinkedIn Live. And basically, we wanted to take some time today and talk about some of the things we're seeing, specifically in regards to the buying process and how buyers are now finding about your company, your brand, and how these things really changed and sort of shifted. If you look just 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, it looked totally different. Like the sort of legacy funnel, you would say, is that generally speaking, the funnel would start somewhere, probably among a search on Google. Maybe they clicked on an ad. Maybe they read a review on G2 or visited a forum, but it's really shifting. Oftentimes, you don't see these things in your analytics, in your amplitude, in your Google Analytics. It's like an invisible funnel because the traffic that actually gets into your website, that actually is being counted in your analytics, already knows so much about you. By the way, for better and worse. But I believe that the point that we are seeing is that the buyers are so much more advanced and educated, and they just expect a whole different thing and whole different level of expertise when they reach your website.
I agree, but I want to start with a statement that says, and I hate that, but it depends. I think there's right now a huge difference between buyers that are technical and AI first, and versus the other scaled buyers that are completely not. Again, without offending something, I think it's a bit different right now when you're selling to, let's say, a VP of engineering or head of sales in a technology company versus you're selling, without offending, maybe to accountants. I think AI adoption is not 100% across the board yet. I think it will be. I think it will be sooner than everybody thinks. Right now, if we want to be honest, I think there are a group of people that if they're not going to see AI, they're going to move away. And the only way that they will make any research or buying decision would be via AI, whether the provider is providing it or not. Versus other people that are still, trying to figure out what is it and whether they can trust it. But I would say that at least for the first group, and again, my claim is that the second group will be there sooner than later, is that most of the buying journeys are actually invisible for the vendors, right? Think of, I don't know, when is the last time you Googled something, on a vendor? You go to ChatGPT, you go to Anthropics, you go to Gemini,
And even
and you
if you
start.
Google, everybody started using the like AI summary on top, which is essentially the same, right?
Yeah, at least it's a start of, I would say a research effort to actually figure out what the thing. I think, by the time people get to your website and they fill up a form, they probably already decided whether they trust you or not. One of the mistakes I see with, with companies, I think companies need to understand that right now they are targeting people, but in a lot of cases, there's an AI between them and that people. And that AI is aggressively, grammatically looking for information. That's it. That AI is programmed to provide to what is the complete best answer that I can give to my user. And the mistake that I see is that companies do not expose that kind of information, which leads to the AI going to find out this information on other places. And then you lose the narrative. I think one of the changes companies need to be aware of or to make is instead of, and I know I might be contradicting to other people in the market, but instead of gating content, instead of adding more friction, I think we need to be as open as we can and provide as much information in an intelligent way to the person that is using an AI to make a decision about you.
Yeah. Because First of all, absolutely right. 100% with you on that. And I think it's even worse this day and age when they gate content, where they don't reveal pricing or hide it or what have you, or where they force you to fill out whatever gazillion fields form just to watch a product demo recording. Because we're just, I wouldn't say lazy, but we're being educated and accustomed to an incredible experience that's frictionless and that takes 2.5 seconds with LLMs. And when you go to these websites and they force you to go through all these hoops and friction, you're either going to leave or you either going to go back to the LLM and say, hey, I'm looking for this and this and this company. Can you figure out what's their pricing? Can you figure out what do I get on the pro plan versus the enterprise plan? And then you just lose the narrative. You will lose the ability to influence. Because if it wouldn't pull
I
from your
agree. And
website, it would go to G2, or it would go to Reddit, or it would go to where people actually converse about these topics.
I love to think about what is the future of the website. And if you think about, I think 99.9% of the B2B websites today are designed to a funnel where you get people or catch people outside. You bring in a marketing campaign, you bring in organic, you bring in whatever. You bring them to the website, and then you play with them, right? Here's some information, but give me something, here's something, eventually schedule a demo. That's the old way. I think two things are going to happen. Either you're going to attract a person and they're going to come to a website. They don't have any patience right now to learn a lot of things by browsing or finding or waiting for a salesperson to call them or filling up a form. No, they are used to, what's the 1 second experience that I ask something you already should know about me and provide me with the best experience that I need. So that's one audience. And the second audience that we should plan to are the LLMs themselves, right? And we need to think of ourselves, is the information that I have on my website is the right one that will actually convince an LLM to convince a user to actually take a look at us as well. I think that's fascinating, by the way, if you think about each one of them has different motives and different vectors. But here's something that I do believe. I do think that the LLMs that again are going to be powering many of the buying journeys and the buying researches. I think that they are or will be optimized to how do we really or how do we really provide the best complete answer to our user? That's eventually what they want. So I think that there's a joint, I would say, a goal here. The company wants to provide the best information to the user, and the LLM wants to provide the best information for the user. The question is, how do we make that happen? One of the things that I see now, and I'm sure and you guys are seeing it as well, is again, and I don't like this phrase, but it is AI slope, because
What do you mean?
companies are using a lot of tools that are telling them you need to publish content and you need to publish content and you need to publish content, and
Yeah.
they are publishing content. And it's very easy to publish content because you click on a button and you have 5 blog pages or 50 blog pages or 50,000 blog pages. And now every small company really easily can create even high quality, but a lot of high quality blog pages. And the LLMs are starting to drown in hundreds of thousands or hundreds of millions pages that are being generated as we speak and were simply generated to hack the system. To hey, let's provide more information. Let's provide. I think there should be probably a different way. And by the way, I'm not sure we want to get that into this conversation, but I do think it will evolve to an agent-to-agent conversation. But what I do recommend companies is really think about, again, the two use cases that I've mentioned before. One is either a person coming to you and they already know some things about you and they're really used to getting immediate expert answers, or you need to provide the best answers for an LLM that is actually coming to generate that for the user. So I really think that the goal and maybe the structure and the behavior of a website is actually going to change.
I heard something interesting, right? You have all the build something people wants, right? In the Y Combinator slogan, and instead it's buy something an AI agent wants, right? That's pretty much who's the buyer now, right? Your next buyer is not human necessarily. It is the AI agent to decide what is the best one, especially like in DevTools, right? What is the next? What database should I use? What deployment should I use? All of that is now becoming a lot of what AI
Actually, yeah.
does.
I think you always the great point, which is I don't think it's a search problem. I think it's a research problem. It's not a search project. It's a research product. It's not, I don't know any VP of engineering that are going to say, "Hey, I'm looking for a bug tracking system." What is or she's going to say is, I'm a VP of engineering in a public company. I manage 200 engineers across the globe. We're using these systems. This is my tech stack. We've been using that product. It didn't work. What I'm looking for a solution is that will do this and this and that. That's my budget. These are what my requirements. Go and figure out.
And I will even
That's research.
that many of what all those citation tracking and stuff are missing today. It's what you said. Even I'm X in this company, and this is my problem. A lot of that is already built in the memory of ChatGPT and Claude. Right? They know about you, so they know who you are. So when you search, they already kind of do that. So they already kind of
Yeah,
even if you don't say I'm X doing Y, they kind of do that. So every search is personalized, and this will even get more and more in the next months, right? So
absolutely.
so all of being like top 5 tools in X, it's a bit, yeah, it's a bit not realistic.
Yeah, it should be like the five tools for whom, for what
Yeah.
persona, for what scenario.
Yes.
Like,
It's like, and again, I'm sure you know this experience by working with any LLMs. Um, you're going to ask a question. Is this good for me? Or I'm looking for what? For something. That LLM is going to first figure out a bit more information about you. Again, because it is programmed to provide you the best complete
yeah,
expert answer that it
yeah,
can.
yeah,
So sometimes you don't even know what questions to ask. Good LLMs or good agents on the company side know to ask those things. Again, if any founders or sellers or marketers that are listening to us right now, think even about yourself. If somebody is really asking about your company, or what are you solving, or what are the problems that you're dealing with, you probably have a set of different answers that are fine-tuned into what the specific persona is and what the specific problem. And again, it might be 70-80% same, but the move from the 70-80% generic into 100% specific, that's something that the LLMs are great at. I think what companies need to identify is what is the best way for us to present that information either to an LLM that is coming or to a person that again is used to an AI. I think AI is completely changing the entire B2B buying journey, probably B2C as well, but B2B buying journey, the way they find you, they research you, how they make a decision, how do they expect to communicate with you? All those kinds of things are being changed every day.
yeah, for sure. I'm curious, because of our unique position that we see plenty of companies and basically how LLM is describing and really representing their company. And we see a lot of their challenges and back and forth. Can you guys think of what are like the most common ways AIs are getting companies wrong in terms of like the pricing, for example, and maybe the size of the company or the product,
Yeah,
etc.?
I think first of all there are biases, and remember some of the AIs and LLMs are programmed to to be careful. So a lot of time, if you don't provide them with the right information, the responses are going to be generic. They're going to say, here's what is good about this company. Here's what's bad about this company. And they always need to say, okay, what's good, what's bad? Like these are the benefits, these are the concern. I do see biased towards large brands, because large brands have more footprint on the web, right? And as nobody was fired for buying IBM back then. LLMs are taking that approach without that. But I think what's really, they will need to find some concerns to present about your company, because there's no perfect company, right? And I think the question is how do you control those concerns? And every company, every product, their product is a great fit for something, and there might be some challenges for another scenario. And I think a company can be very meticulous and very accurate to what this is good for and what's not. And if you don't provide this kind of information, the LM is going to find it or guess it, or worst case hallucinate it, which could happen as well. So I don't think the AI necessarily is wrong. It's either incomplete or it's not exactly to the use case, to this persona, to the company that you're trying to sell. And these are mainly the gaps. It's generic, it's biased to large companies, it's a bit cautious, but the nuance is what kills deals or wins deals. If you don't provide them with that, they will invent it, figure it out, find it in another place, and it will provide nuances, but not necessarily with your structure.
I'll give a couple of examples that I ran to. I think they're kind of representing. One was that there was a company that we worked with that they didn't publish pricing on their page, but they did some AWS marketplace some way back then, 2 years ago, about something just to be there, right? So people put things in the marketplace just to be there. And then all of a sudden, if you ask ChatGPT what's their pricing, it takes it from the AWS marketplace, and it's totally wrong, right? Not like totally off what they do, totally off their model. Everything is off. And that was the truth that ChatGPT knew about them. So that was
And of course, it would publish it with great confidence. You're
well,
absolutely This is the pricing.
and you
Like,
can't even know, right? Because don't say, oh, this specifically marketplace versus. No, they just say, here's the pricing, and it quotes their citations for both that company and the marketplace offering. So you cannot know. So that was.
And let's double down on this for a second, because I know presenting pricing on a website to everybody is somehow sensitive to some companies. And by the way, the other side of the equation, I believe in, transparency and do that. But here's what's happening. Okay, somebody's going to ask, what's the pricing, right? Anybody that is in a buying process is going to ask their AI or the LM or the agent, what is the pricing? If that company is not going to provide any indication, I'm not saying it needs to be the specific pricing, but some indication that that's how we price, that's our model, that's more or less the ranges, the LLM is going to go outside. And he's going to find somebody on a review site that says something. He's going to find some analyst that thinks about something. And he may, it's funny that I'm saying the AI, it may present, hey, this is what I've learned. I'm not sure that's the right information, but it will present a sentence saying, other people on the web are saying that your pricing is like that. And all of a sudden you lost the narrative. You completely lost the narrative. Instead of you as a company taking control and to be able to lead that discussion. And again, I'm not saying expose everything in your pricing, but do give an indication to a potential buyer about how you price and, what are the ranges, and whether that's, an enterprise discussion and negotiation or whatever it is. If you're not going to do that, somebody else is going to get the narrative. The same goes for competition. It goes for competition as well. One of the first questions, again, because we're exposed to many, tens and thousands of questions every week and every month from potential buyers that we see. One of the most common questions is how this company is better than X, which is, by the way, an amazing sentence for a salesperson, right? If I would be in sales, somebody would ask me, I all of a sudden got more information. I know what they're comparing me to. I'm going to ask questions. You have to find a way to provide that to the LLM. Otherwise, either it's going to be, I can't find anything, but Johnny said sometimes, and again, you're going to lose the narrative. So you definitely have to come up with, your own point of view on, okay, why are we better than, of course you have your point of view, but you have to expose to the LLMs. And by the way, the method is not necessarily just putting it on a website. There are other ways to send information to LLMs, but you need to send your point of view to the LLMs or educate or train the LLMs on what is your point of view about pricing, about competition, about privacy and security, about concerns, about what are you not good at, about what use cases you are amazing and what use cases might be. I think that's the way to win in this area.
Yeah, for sure. I think that funny you mentioned how is my product better than X or Y, because this is somewhat similar to what all of us did as a marketeers, essentially for Google search and for ads, basically having a direct comparison campaign between like the company and its main competitors, with a chart of the features and the positioning and why this and this, and basically trying to capture a piece of the search when somebody's searching for the competitor. So it's very nice to see and interesting to see the similarities between that and what's going on with LLMs and how you can sort of recreate that for LLMs and in an easier structure to digest way for them.
And on my side, again, with the one sentence that I want companies to think about, this isn't about gaming AI or chasing trends or how do I create more content. Think of you as the buyer, and you guys, probably everybody that is watching it, most chances you are using AI in your day-to-day in your work. How buyers are going to use AI to make a decision about your company, and what is the best way to actually represent that? That needs to be. I'm claiming that it's not necessarily publishing 50,000 articles on that
For
are
sure.
less relevant for a buyer on Reddit or Wikipedia. I'm not saying don't do that because the benefits are others, but that's not going to convince a user that is using AI to actually buy you. You need to figure out other ways to actually do that.
Cool. Right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ping us, to raise and comment, and we would love to tackle those. Thank you.
Bye-bye.